What if the idea of being chosen has nothing to do with superiority and everything to do with responsibility? What if the truth no one tells you is that being set apart is not a reward, but a burden? From ancient civilizations to modern self-development culture, the concept of the chosen one has fascinated humanity. It appears in myths, literature, and personal identity narratives. But beneath the dramatic language and emotional appeal, there is a deeper psychological and ethical reality that often goes unspoken. Many people who feel different, isolated, or misunderstood begin to interpret that experience as evidence that they are chosen. They notice they think differently. They question more. They feel disconnected from certain environments. And instead of seeing this as a normal human variation in personality or life phase, they adopt a powerful label, chosen. It sounds empowering, it sounds meaningful. But is it always healthy? Let's pause and ask something uncomfortable. Who defines what chosen actually means? Is it society? Is it a belief system? Is it personal emotion? Or is it simply a story we tell ourselves to make sense of hardship? Throughout history, communities have described certain individuals as chosen for roles of leadership, reform, or transformation. Yet in almost every case, those roles required sacrifice, discipline, and accountability. Being chosen was not about admiration. It was about service. The modern world, however, often flips that meaning. Today, the word can quietly feed ego. It can separate people instead of humbling them. It can create a mindset where ordinary struggles are interpreted as proof of special destiny rather than natural challenges of growth. But here is the truth no one tells you: feeling different does not automatically mean you are elevated above others. Sometimes it simply means you are in a season of development. Consider this: every human being is unique in temperament, experience, and potential. That uniqueness does not automatically assign hierarchy. It does not create spiritual rank. It does not place one soul above another. If anything, recognizing individuality should increase humility, not pride. Because if everyone carries distinct strengths and weaknesses, then no one holds a monopoly on purpose. There is also another side to this conversation that is rarely discussed. When someone deeply believes they are chosen, they may unconsciously isolate themselves. They may withdraw from accountability. They may dismiss feedback. After all, if you are chosen, who can correct you? If your path is exceptional, who can question you? This subtle shift can be dangerous. Growth requires reflection. Reflection requires humility. But do not misunderstand. There is nothing wrong with believing your life has meaning. In fact, it is healthy to live with purpose. The issue begins when purpose turns into comparison. When identity turns into superiority. When resilience turns into self-glorification. True strength does not need constant validation. True purpose does not require an audience. So maybe the real question is not whether you are chosen. Maybe the better question is, chosen for what? For recognition, or for responsibility, for status, or for service? The answer to that question changes everything. There is a side of the chosen narrative that few people talk about. It is not glamorous. It is not cinematic. It does not come with dramatic music or applause. It comes with pressure. It comes with loneliness. It comes with expectations that can quietly exhaust the mind and the heart. When someone begins to see themselves as chosen, they often feel they must always be strong, always be composed, always be ahead. But is that realistic? Is it human? The truth is, no one escapes vulnerability. No one is immune to doubt. And the belief that you must carry an invisible crown can make it harder to admit when you are struggling. Think about it carefully. If you see yourself as set apart, you may hesitate to seek help. You may think, people like me don't break. You may believe your challenges are tests meant only for you. While resilience is admirable, isolation is not strength. Growth does not require secrecy. It requires honesty. There is also the psychological weight of expectation. When you adopt the identity of someone chosen for something greater, you begin measuring your life against that invisible standard. Every setback feels amplified. Every delay feels like failure. Every ordinary day feels insufficient. But what if greatness is not measured by constant achievement? What if consistency, integrity, and quiet discipline are far more meaningful than dramatic milestones? History shows us that those who carried significant responsibility often endured long seasons of preparation. Not glamorous preparation, not celebrated preparation, just silent refinement. Skills developed in obscurity, character strengthened through hardship, patience built through waiting. If someone is truly meant to carry responsibility, it is usually forged in humility long before recognition ever appears. Another truth no one tells you is this: sometimes the feeling of being chosen emerges from pain. When someone has experienced rejection, misunderstanding, or hardship, the idea of being chosen can become a coping mechanism. It transforms suffering into significance. And while finding meaning in difficulty can be healthy, we must be careful not to let pain inflate identity. Healing should lead to balance, not superiority. Ask yourself honestly, does the belief that you are chosen make you more compassionate or more distant? Does it make you more accountable or more defensive? Does it inspire service or feed comparison? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. There is also the danger of waiting for a grand destiny while neglecting daily responsibility. Some people postpone action because they are expecting a dramatic calling. They overlook the simple duties in front of them. They dismiss small beginnings because they are waiting for something extraordinary. Yet most meaningful impact begins quietly. It begins with discipline in ordinary tasks. It begins with how you treat people when no one is watching. Perhaps being chosen is not about escaping normal life. Perhaps it is about engaging it more deeply. Perhaps it is about doing common things with uncommon sincerity. About leading yourself before trying to lead others. About mastering your reactions before trying to influence the world. Because in the end, responsibility without humility becomes arrogance, and identity without balance becomes illusion. There is another layer to this conversation that is rarely explored. The idea of being chosen often creates a subtle division between us and them. It can form invisible walls in the mind. You begin to categorize people. Some are awake, others are not. Some are destined, others are ordinary. But who decided that scale, and what evidence truly supports it? Human beings naturally seek belonging. When someone feels misunderstood, finding a narrative that explains their difference can be comforting. It provides clarity. It offers identity. Yet identity built on separation can quietly distort perspective. When you see yourself as fundamentally unlike everyone else, you may stop learning from them. You may stop listening. You may assume your path is too unique to require guidance. But look closely at life. Every person you meet carries struggles you cannot see. Every individual wrestles with questions about purpose, direction, and value. The difference is not that some are chosen and others are not. The difference is often in awareness, discipline, and choices. And those qualities are not reserved for a special category of people. They are available to anyone willing to cultivate them. There is also a danger in romanticizing struggle as proof of selection. Hardship, does not automatically signal special status. Difficulty is part of the human condition. Growth requires friction. Character is shaped by resistance. If every challenge is interpreted as confirmation that you are uniquely targeted or elevated, you may miss the more grounded explanation. Life refines everyone. Consider this: what if the real measure of someone's character is not how different they feel, but how responsibly they act? Not how misunderstood they believe they are, but how well they treat those who misunderstand them. Not how strongly they identify as chosen, but how consistently they choose integrity. It is easy to claim a special calling when things go wrong. It is harder to quietly improve your habits. It is easy to speak about destiny. It is harder to wake up early and build discipline. It is easy to imagine a future where your uniqueness is recognized. It is harder to refine your weaknesses in the present. The truth no one tells you is that purpose is less about labels and more about alignment. Alignment between values and actions. Alignment between words and behavior. Alignment between ambition and ethics. Without that alignment, the concept of being chosen becomes hollow. Ask yourself something honest: if no one ever acknowledged your uniqueness, would you still pursue growth? If no one applauded your resilience, would you still choose patience? If no one labeled you as special, would you still act with integrity? These questions strip away ego and reveal intention. There is strength in believing your life matters, but there is greater strength in believing every life matters. When you recognize that significance is not scarce, competition fades, comparison softens, collaboration becomes possible. Perhaps the real shift is this: instead of asking, "Why was I chosen?" ask, "How can I be useful?" That single change in focus transforms identity from self-centered to service-centered, and that transformation may be the beginning of true maturity. So what is the balanced conclusion to all of this? If the idea of being chosen can inspire confidence, but also inflate ego, where does that leave you? It leaves you with responsibility. Not responsibility to prove that you are extraordinary. Not responsibility to convince others that you are different, but responsibility to refine your character, discipline your habits, and contribute positively wherever you are placed. Because the truth is, a meaningful life is not built on titles. It is built on daily decisions. You may never receive a dramatic confirmation that you are chosen. There may be no moment where everything suddenly makes sense. No spotlight, no announcement. Just ordinary days filled with choices. And perhaps that is where the real work happens. Think about it carefully. What separates someone who grows from someone who stagnates? It is not a mystical label. It is not secret knowledge. It is consistency. It is humility. It is the willingness to learn, to adjust, to accept correction. The people who quietly elevate their lives are usually the ones who focus less on identity and more on action. There is something powerful about letting go of the need to feel exceptional. When you release that pressure, you become freer. Freer to admit mistakes, freer to evolve, freer to collaborate. You stop viewing others as competitors in a hierarchy of significance and start seeing them as partners in shared human experience. And here is another truth that often goes unnoticed: service refines a person more than status ever could. When you serve others through kindness, reliability, and fairness, your sense of purpose becomes grounded. It is no longer abstract or dramatic. It becomes practical, tangible, real. Ask yourself one final set of questions. If you are chosen, are you also patient? If you are chosen, are you also accountable? If you are chosen, are you willing to sacrifice comfort for growth? Because without those qualities, the label means nothing. The healthiest understanding of purpose is not that some are elevated above others, but that each person is entrusted with opportunities. Opportunities to improve themselves. Opportunities to contribute. Opportunities to act ethically, even when it is inconvenient. This perspective removes arrogance and replaces it with stewardship. Perhaps the truth no one tells you is this: being chosen is not about being set above humanity. It is about being fully responsible within it. It is about recognizing your potential without exaggerating your importance. It is about striving for excellence without losing humility. In the end, your life will not be measured by how strongly you believed you were different. It will be shaped by how faithfully you acted on your values. Quiet discipline, consistent effort, respect for others, integrity in private and in public. If there is something special about you, it will reveal itself through character. And character does not need a title. There is one final dimension to this conversation that deserves attention, and it may be the most important of all. The desire to feel chosen often reflects a deeper desire to feel seen, to feel that your struggles matter, to feel that your existence is not random or wasted, and that desire is deeply human. But here is the subtle shift that changes everything. Instead of asking whether you were selected for greatness, ask whether you are selecting growth. Instead of waiting to be recognized, focus on becoming refined. Instead of searching for confirmation that you are set apart, commit to standing firm in your principles. Because in reality, the world does not need more people convinced of their uniqueness. It needs more people committed to responsibility. More people who keep their word. More people who choose honesty over convenience. More people who practice patience when frustration would be easier. The fantasy of being chosen can sometimes distract from the simplicity of improvement. It can make you look outward for signs instead of inward for discipline. Yet, the most transformative changes in life rarely announce themselves. They happen quieted. A habit corrected, a reaction controlled, a skill practiced daily without applause. Ask yourself this: if you remove the label entirely, who would you be? Without the identity of chosen, what remains? Your work ethic, your character, your consistency. These are not dramatic, but they are powerful. They are also within your control. There is strength in recognizing potential, but maturity lies in managing it. Potential alone means nothing without structure. Vision alone means nothing without effort, and identity alone means nothing without integrity. Many people speak about destiny, yet few commit to discipline. Many speak about purpose, yet avoid responsibility. The difference between illusion and impact is action. It is also important to understand that comparison distorts perception. When you measure your life against others, you either inflate yourself or diminish yourself. Both are distractions. A grounded mindset does neither. It focuses on progress, not position, improvement, not image. Perhaps the most liberating realization is this: you do not need to be chosen to matter. Your actions matter because they affect real people. Your words matter because they shape real outcomes. Your habits matter because they determine real consequences. Meaning is not granted through a label. It is built through behavior. So instead of chasing a narrative that places you above the crowd, consider building a life that benefits the crowd. Instead of seeking confirmation that you are destined for something extraordinary, commit to doing ordinary things exceptionally well. Excellence is not reserved for a special category of people. It is accessible to anyone willing to pursue it consistently. In the end, the truth not one tells you is not that you are secretly elevated above others. It is that the real work is less glamorous than the story. It is steady, it is disciplined, it is humble, and it is available to you right now. You do not need a title to begin. You only need a decision.